Hi, I'm Dan Ayu, producer of Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, here to talk to you about an exciting new mechanic we've developed for the game, the Universal Fighting System. We wanted to move away from the memorization mechanic and move towards a more skill-based system that's more about context and learning your superheroes. We're going to show you how it works right now. So a big challenge for the game was helping the individualities of the superheroes come to life with a common system. So the system at its base is very simplistic, but you'll see putting it all together can really create some very interesting combinations. So all characters have the same basics. So for example, each character has a basic jump. So Spider-Man, for example, when he jumps, it's very true to character. We want to get a lot of his movements down. Iron Man's is a little more, true to the fiction. He's using his thrusters and things like that. In addition to the basic jump is the basic attack. So if the characters square off against one another, they'll do a simple punch if they're at a closer range. So if Spider-Man punches Iron Man punches Spider-Man. These are basically going to be the simplistic combinations in close combat. Another important dynamic of it is the block. Now, we talk a lot about being true to the fiction. So if Spider-Man punches at Iron Man and Iron Man is blocking, Iron Man will put up his fists and kind of block it. Whereas Spider-Man, who's a more agile character, if Iron Man starts trying to punch him, Spider-Man is going to dodge rather than put his fists up and try and block it. The other basic button combination is the grab. So a simple grapple, so if Spider-Man reaches up and grabs Iron Man, he's going to throw him. And whereas it's the same for Iron Man, he runs up, he's going to grab him and throw him. The grab button is also used for props in the environment. So characters can pick up objects that are lying around and throw them around at will. Now, where the really cool part comes in are the two shoulder buttons. These are kind of shift keys for the basic button combination. So the left trigger button is essentially mobility. So in the case of Spider-Man, when he hits mobility, he's going to start, web zipping. If he jumps and does it, he's going to start, web swinging around the environment. So this really helps the character come to life. He'll also stick to walls if he gets close enough to one. Iron Man, on the other hand, if he starts using mobility, he's going to fly. So he's going to start zipping around the environment. This is another major change for the game because we wanted to get off the basic 2D axis and kind of let it get 3D, not just moving around, but up and down. Now, the other modifier for the game is the right trigger. This is the superpower button. This is really where the powers start to come through. Now, it's important, when you hit the triggers, those four basic buttons I described at the beginning, everything modifies. So in the case of Spider-Man, now with superpower, if he jumps, he's going to jump much higher than he did normally. The same thing true for Iron Man. He's going to get a bit more boost. Attacks get different. Spider-Man starts to use his webbing when his superpower's up. So he'll start, creating zip lines to come in. If he's at a distance, he'll fire web bullets, things like that. Whereas, by the same token, Iron Man, that basic attack button now turns into his distance attack. So he's going to start, doing superpower combos, firing repulsor blasts, things that are really true to his fiction. Grab is a modifier as well. So Spider-Man, for example, using his webs, can now start picking up objects or opponents up at a distance. So he can web objects, throw them to him. If he webs Iron Man, he can grapple him by his feet and throw him. These are really the areas where the individuality and the uniqueness of the characters start to come to life. Block button with the superpower button held, everyone has a 360 block. Iron Man will erect a force field around himself. Spider-Man will encase himself in a web shield. So these two triggers really start to bring the uniqueness of the characters to life. So you can see that from a very basic control system, you're getting some really unique moves. And as I said earlier, everything is context. So if you put all of this together, you can just really see how what a seemingly very simple control system can yield some really spectacular results, as you can see here if the characters just kind of let loose a little bit. So all of the combinations you're seeing here are basically modifications of the system I spoke about. So it's up to the character to kind of figure out how the context of the different characters work, how the different systems work, and what they're going to see is as they experiment with these are all very logical moves that the player can string together rather easily. That's not only fun, but really shows off the uniqueness of the characters. Another unique movement of the game, which is really cool and helps bring the characters to life, is dodge. This is done by holding the block button and moving the joystick. So Iron Man and Spider-Man can actually move around. So Iron Man will use his jets to move himself in and out of harm's way really, really quickly, and Spider-Man will do the same. The difference for Spider-Man being because he's more of a mobility character, he can chain his dodges together. So this means he can do repetitive backflips, he can do forward flips. This is a huge payoff for the fiction because, of course, Spider-Man is hard to hit. He's a very agile character. Again, everything about this game is finally bringing the superheroes to life as no game has before, so that you can finally feel like your favorite superhero. So a big part of bringing the superheroes to life is the superhero power button. So in the case of Wolverine, when you hit it, your claws will actually pop out. This is actually a really satisfying piece of control because the user actually feels like they're in control of their character's superpower. Human Torch is another character. When he hits superpower, he's going to light up. As you know, he increases his flame. He can fly around. He can throw bolts. This is really about delivering on the feel of controlling your superheroes. So, you know, the player decides when the claws come out. The players decide when Human Torch is really going to heat up and start throwing fireballs. They're not locked to an arbitrary set or, you know, limited by memorization. So all the powers of the individual superheroes are really brought to life through this simple control mechanism. As you can see, the details of the characters come to life as well. If Wolverine runs close to Human Torch and grabs him or throws him, you actually see Wolverine illuminated by the light coming off of the Human Torch. This goes a long way to really help you feel like you're really in the middle of a superhero battle.